Yo, what's up? DNO came at Old Habits. Cast Gem, Wesley. What's up? Look at you guys just coming in, hitting the like. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get it, man. Smash that. Smash that. Joe, Plastic Starfish. What's up, man? Aldo, what's up, dude? Change your name? Love it, love it. TIT, yo, Duke. HHH. Tramadol, Jordan, Ileana, yo. Robert, Stream Elements, what's up, man? What up, what up? My little bot running. Hell yeah. Look at that, 20 likes already? Just 40 of you in here? Half of you just like the hell out of this video. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Here we go. Get you guys in there. All right, cool, cool, cool. Look at 34. What's up, man? 53 of you. Okay, I like that. More than half of you. More than half are hitting that like button. DR No says, keep smashing it. Hell yeah, keep smashing it. Burger Time. It's Matt. Sam, what's up, man? Rockets in the chat. Okay. All right, look at this. Yeah, we got something to talk about. So I'm gonna be covering AMC today. I'm gonna be covering the market. We're gonna go over it all. Look at that. Look at that. All right. And I'll be taking questions, man. I'll be taking some questions because I've been getting some DMs and trying to answer everybody here, get through it. I always, I wait for the lives to answer most questions, especially on Discord. So if you guys got any, man, I got you. I got you. All right, so we got a vote coming up the 14th. Adam Aaron already posted something on that, so that's good. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to draw a little line here, a little vertical line for the 14th. And that is what we got to work with here. I'll talk about the setup. I'll talk about all the other stocks in the market that we're tracking right now for this point of interest. So first thing is first. Let's get on AMC. Show you guys what we got going on. All right, you know what? What color is this, dude? Oh, okay, that's what it is. Awesome. All right. So, what happened to this point of interest? Why are we down? What's going on? So, like every point of interest in the market on AMC that we've experienced in the past, I'm gonna say this once, okay, for those of you that are coming in. This is a volatility tracker telling us that in the zone that we're in, we're likely to experience volatility. It's not a for sure thing. It's never a for sure thing, as we've seen in the past with these previous volatility zones here, where nothing happens. The price just goes up and down and gets rejected. Now, I'm going to show you where I think we are in the cycle, because I think this is relevant to the current structure of the pattern that we're developing. So I've already said this in that this did get rejected back down. initially what I had thought. And this was, one of the structures that we had here was following very closely to the cycle in December. I think a lot of us were expecting something like this. And, we didn't get that. We got a rejection back down, and this is now testing very close levels of support right now. So we're not quite at the $4 range, but we are coming down to a fib level here. I'll show you why I think it's a fib level. So it's a fib level because a lot of these patterns we track in the market will give us that. They'll give us natural levels that we can track here. So for example, we have this projector right here, okay, showing us the same thing. Okay, now this is a moving average. So why I like these patterns, and I'll show you more. There's like 5 projectors right now that we can track that will show us similar levels here. Okay, so we got this guy right here. We're going to pull up the moving average. And with the moving average, I always, okay, this one I'm going to be using the 12-day moving average to show us that, rounded out projector pattern that we want, because that's what this bars pattern is going to do. It's going to show us, that smooth moving average that we want to see. We don't want to see the spikes because that doesn't matter. I said this earlier on the Discord. One of the indices in the market are not going to show us the volatility really that's happening around that moving average. So for SPY, for example, you're going to get a very smooth pattern and very accurate patterns with what we know, right? With stocks that have a lot of volatility, you're going to see a bunch of spikes, and that stuff doesn't matter that much at the end of the day. You really want to pay attention to the moving average. That's going to be the more accurate to track here on the macro. So here is what we have. We have a projector pattern. We also have this other projector back here. This is the OG, man. This one dates way back. We use this projector. It's the one on the thumbnail. Now, what is this telling us? So this is telling us that we're now coming outside of the POI zone. So I'm gonna tell you where we are in the cycle because this is relevant. All right, we are here's the cycle. And you guys know how this works. You can take any cycle in the entire sequence of AMC. And in this case, we're tracking the arc pattern here is this cycle right here. We really copy that all the way through. This is the staple of AMC because this is where it really comes from. You can see it structured everywhere. And it's the most accurate one. But you can take any cycle in the market and compare it to the current cycle, which is right here. This is the cycle we're in right now. We are almost at the peak on the 17th here, and you can see that this one is closely related to the cycle in July. So this is why I want to talk about this, and I'm gonna bring over on SPY to show you why I think we're here and to show you why I think we're in a projector pattern. So this is what I think is going to happen. This cycle, why is it similar to the one we're currently in? Because we have an inverse point of interest, meaning that whether it comes down, whether things are actually playing out inverse here, and you see so I'll show you some of the cycles where we've seen like a clear inverse POI have been these 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You can clearly see that the pressure is pointing down when the cycle is pointing up, right? Right at the beginning of the cycle. This one, though, is a little different, and it's very similar to the one we just experienced because there's a pump, and then it's followed by a dump. And then what happens afterwards? You start going back up. And then, this is where I get a lot of questions like, why is it valid that AMC goes up in the middle of the cycle? We haven't really seen that before. And yeah, it's valid because we don't see the same pressure to the upside. The volume here is not as high. You normally only have about 1 or 2 micro POIs within the cycle. And in this case, we have the 24th of August. That was a volatility zone. It was quick. And then you see this, this flag setup, right? That gets rejected back down, trades sideways, and then it comes back down into another channel. So I'm going to take this cycle here and show you guys why I think we're here. It's from July till September. And this is 62 days of data. And then now we're going to move on over to this cycle here. And then again, all we're doing is just plopping it down. Different time frame. Okay. Now, we're not tracking the structure of the pattern. All we're tracking here are the levels. I want the levels to be the same because it doesn't matter that this is not looking the same way. Remember, patterns here are going to be distributed differently throughout the entire, through each cycle. Some patterns are going to be located, or some portions of patterns are going to be located a little bit before, a little bit after, throughout the entire chart. Like, remember, like one of the things I had talked about when I pulled up the 120-day theory here on AMC is that these guys have a set amount of liquidity margin that they can use. And what I believe is that the way patterns get made here and the structure of patterns that look different in the entire market has to do with that limit, that threshold that these guys have, that margin. So that margin is distributed throughout the entire chart. So whether you want to make a cup, a wedge, a flag, whatever it is, it's with that margin these institutions have. So they're creating something. And it's the same thing here, the micro chart. So levels are the same. You know, you got your high here, you got your low. And then what this is calling for is some upside here. Now, we know that the 24th of August was a POI here in the market. You can see that it goes back up, and then it creates this flag, right? It's just inverse to the red portion of the cycle. That's valid. But the reason I believe this is actually more likely to play out than not is because it fits with these fractals we're using. So we have the projector here. Both projectors are calling for upside right around that same time here in what is the 24th. Now, what is that date? That is about a week before the split that is supposed to happen, right? Remember, the split doesn't happen until the 14th. I don't know why that came out. Here we go. So, meaning that if it's voted yes, that the split would take place the 15th, the day after. So what happens before the split? We've already gone over this. The events, the way this lines up, it would have been nice to see this play out on the POI here. We quite didn't see that. So one of the things that there is a high correlation with here on AMC okay, and then this is where we pull up PFV because PFV is going to tell us where the points of interest are playing out here. So here's a daily chart. Here are the cycle POIs. Okay, this one's bigger for some reason. Because it's being stretched out by TradingView. Okay. Let's go on the 8-hour. I want you guys to be able to see everything here. Okay, so POIs, where there's a spike in the chart, if it lines up with the green portion, that's a POI. Right here, macro. Starts way back here in November. But these are the ones that you can fully see play out, have a spike in the chart, and it lines up with the green portion. So right now we have 5 out of 5 that have fully played out within that zone here. 5 out of 5. Meaning that if we have some kind of pressure here and say that there's a spike on the PFE, this would be the first time that it plays out outside of that zone. So what does that tell us? That tells us that now it's 5 out of 6. Now there's error in this correlation that we have here, because we haven't seen it on AMC. We haven't seen it played out before. And if we go up here and there's a spike on the PFE indicator, then this is going to be 5 out of 6. It would be the first time. So what that's telling me is that the cycle is breaking. Because if the cycle breaks, then we start to get into this whole like, well, where's the price going to go from here? It can do anything based on what I've seen happen before, what I've seen on GameStop. Okay, with GME, we go way back here. And I talk about how this is where the cycle breaks for GME, and then it comes back into the same world in February. This is where it kicks back in, comes back into cycle, and then it starts doing the same thing again. 90 days, every 90 days, you start to see GameStop go up and down, right? This is where it breaks, dude. Like, you see the volatility zone kick in, but then it takes a little bit of time for it to come back in and start cycling again. That's why, you know, GME cycle is so structured. It's almost easier to track in a way, because there's a clear correlation every 90 days for GME. For AMC, it's a little different. It's not as structured. There's more delay, I think, on AMC's chart. So, yeah, we need to see that. Now, on the 4 hour, we're going to be able to see this clearly here. Here we got our little trend line. And here's the PFE. PFE is very similar to volatility. You can still see that we have not broken this trend line yet. Ever since March, the last major POI we had was in August, but prior to that, the one that we started tracking was March, and then those have been very accurate here. So on the PFE, we're about to break. We're very close to breaking resistance, meaning that on the way back up, it's likely that on the PFE indicator, we're going to see a pretty major spike. So with spikes here, most of the time, it's calling for upside. Rarely do you see anything break here above at least these levels of resistance. There's only been, actually, there hasn't been one inverse that has crossed these levels. Well, there's been one. I'm sorry. There's been one, and it's been the one in November. And that's pretty obvious because that's where the entire market took a dump. The start of the bear market here in November. So obviously you have a pretty big spike there. But everything else is showing here that a cross above resistance is likely to bring us up to pretty high levels here on AMC. Okay. Let's see if I can pull up, because I have I have all these projectors here that we're tracking on Amy. Okay, let's see. All right, and then also I want to show you guys because with the cycle here, we can also see a correlation with this piece of information. So I want you guys to look at this real quick. We have, from this point on, from March, we have the same exact sequence that we had from January until December. So the reason why this is accurate is because, well, we have a point of interest here that is positive. We have a 1 that gets rejected, positive, and then 3 that get rejected, right? Same thing right here. positive, rejected, positive, 3 that get rejected. So similar correlation, and then here there's basically one more that gets rejected before coming back up. So there is a correlation with this, yes, but we do have to remember that at least the point of interest we had here in November was pretty hefty, and this one wasn't a pump and dump. This one was a clear dump. This one's a pump and dump, so it's a little different. And a lot of cycles right now we're tracking are hedging for what happened in November. There's a lot of cycles in the market right now I'm tracking that are hedging for that specific time frame. At least you can almost see the inverse playing out around that time frame here, which has me thinking a lot of stocks are going to start coming back up if the market holds. Now, this is where we're going to pull up the SPY here, because this has to do a lot with SPY. So remember, and I pulled this up on the Discord earlier, 'cause I have freaking 7 patterns I'm tracking right now on SPY, which, man, I will say the one that has been the most accurate here, at least for the past 2 months, almost 3 months, we've been tracking SPY here going up since December of the 29th. This entire move here has been predicted with the pattern scanner. And the levels, man, are uncanny, bro. Look at this. So if you're just coming in, I'm going to show you real quick where I think we are in the cycle, and I want you to pay attention to this pattern here, because it's going to be relevant when I pull back SPY. This one, right? If you're familiar with the cycle, this right here is this, okay? So this is where I think we are in the cycle. I think we're right here, and then it's sideways for 2 weeks, and then we start going back up. Reverse split. Now let's go back on SPY. Want more confirmation that we're there? Here's AMC on SPY. So we are right here in the cycle. Look what the SPY's doing. It's following the AMC arc pattern all the way up here. It has been following it to a T. To a fucking T. Now, because we are entering the POI on SPY, remember, SPY doesn't track the same way that we see on AMC cycle. It's actually ahead a little bit. Remember, the SPY goes up first, and then AMC, once it's at the top and it starts coming back down, that's when AMC goes and then follows the SPY on the way down. That's the correlation we have seen. But the fact that this is showing us a very similar structure of a pattern here, inverse to the market here, is very important, because it almost confirms that, well, if SPY is playing out the inverse of where we are in the cycle right now, that is a pretty valid thing to track for AMC, because, well, markets are going to in some way track each other. Most markets are going to track what the S&P is doing. NASDAQ, sure. And yeah, it's pretty insane stuff that we are here. You can see that here with SPY. Now, because this is considered a point of interest on the AMC cycle, this could break back down, and I'm going to show you why I think this is more likely to happen. So this is just one pattern too, but show you guys the other ones here. The ones we have been tracking, and I'm going to tell you right now, TradingView is going to move this shit. Okay, here, this one's perfect. We've been tracking this pattern here that the pattern scanner found since December, right? So this entire section here has been tracked. Now it's calling for downside. If you guys have been watching the streams and the videos, I talk about how we were going to be up here for at least 2 weeks, and it's been 2 weeks, right? Now is the 15th. Now most patterns are calling for downside, and I agree with this, because we have a macro level of resistance that has not been crossed yet. So this descending level of resistance we need to come back and breathe a little bit, right? After this much bullish pressure, you trade sideways for a little bit, markets don't do anything, and then you start coming down to test resistance, and then maybe start climbing back up, or keep going on the way back down. This is just one pattern. All right, we have a lot. We have there's another one right here. This one's obviously not one that I'm a fan of. I don't think the market's going to do something like this, but again, calling for very similar levels. We're at that, 410 to 415 range. We're just trading sideways. This right here is my favorite pattern. I think this is the one that we're probably going to see play out. And I had said this because I think the market right now is in a state of uncertainty all the way through, and I don't think they're going to make it that easy for everyone. So this would be a classic redistribution pattern of accumulation. So if you zoom out, right, what is the market doing here? It's just trading sideways. You come back to let's see where. Maybe like 2002, right around there, where the market just trades sideways, doesn't really do much for about a year, following what is this massive dump here in the market, right? So are they going to make it that easy where the market just goes down and then all the way back up? That can happen, but we've already seen that happen back here in December. I think this one was quick. It was a fake out. This one doesn't look like a fake out to me. It looks like it wants to take its time. It wants to fake people out. And, what better way to do that than stay in a parallel channel for a year? So this right here is probably the one that's going to play out just based on everything that I'm tracking. There's a lot that we're tracking right now. Here's another one that is pretty bearish. I would not, again, unless there's like a major market event that calls for a crash. I mean, this one would be something to track, but I personally don't think that's going to happen. I think the market is okay. I just think it needs to trade sideways for a little bit more and shake off some of these, really bulls and bears at this point. I think a lot of people would be expecting, let's see, this one here, which is my favorite. I mean, dude, just think about what this would do. Like, imagine trading sideways back and forth until, like, September. Dude, that is crazy. Just, like, bouncing off of these walls and then finally breaking out here. Maybe end of year rally or something. That would be ideal. That would be pretty cool. And then, also, guys, this is not a fractal, meaning that this is the original time frame of a stock that has already played out in the past. Okay, this is from a different time period, but it's the same time window. So this is why these are very accurate patterns, because they, I believe that derivatives drive markets, and that's not going to change because derivatives have expiration dates. So unless you can change the structure of the calendar, then I don't think things can really be different. And that's why patterns repeat themselves over and over and over again. Okay, so yes, and I'll get to some of these questions here, guys, in a little bit. All right, so now that we kind of got that out of the way here for SPY, let's go back to AMC. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff with Upstart. Upstart was on the POI list this week. We had 3 or 4 points of interest this week on the Discord. 2 of them I talked about on Friday. That was Roblox and Upstart, and both of them are up over 20% today. So massive killer on that. It was awesome. We're still tracking it. We got a lot to go on those two. But yeah, really cool stuff. And just to shows that the cycle way, man, it could be a very good way to approach the markets because of being able to spot these POIs right in the market. Really cool stuff. Okay, so what I want to see for AMC in the next couple of days, and what I'm expecting, just based on what we're looking at right now, that there's a couple of ways this can play out. So if this is the biggest bear trap that we've ever seen, right? Not the little series of bear traps that could have turned into something bigger. This was a clear rejection, and it's a clear pump and dump. Okay, but if this is going to turn it into anything else in the short term, it needs to come back into that at least to test that 580, 590 range and then stay there before climbing up, because this would be a massive V reversal. That's in the short term. My opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. I've already pulled up the patterns that I've showed you before, and that doesn't change. It has to do with the structure of time, okay? And time is very important. Derivatives, you can see here that we're currently at resistance. This is a parallel level of resistance. I love tracking things using parallel channels because they do give you these natural levels of resistance. You can clearly see your level of resistance, and then this is like, it's going to act as a wall for now until we cross it, right? At some point, you're going to cross resistance. At some point, you're going to cross support. Until then, you would at least stay in that zone for a little bit, and based on the patterns we're tracking, that's what they're calling for, a little bit of sideways trading, and then coming back up in about maybe a week or two, headed into the vote, right? Let's see. Look at spots. Okay, so for spots as well, one of the things I had mentioned here about like why I wanted to at least stay within or right above that blue curve is because, well, any short-term cross isn't necessarily a good thing unless you come back in, which is currently what we're doing. So this to me is going to look like a series of like a very saturated spot. So it's just going to cross between, pink and blue here, which is fine. But we need to have it come back into that channel so that it can, keep climbing back up here to the upside. All right, let me answer some of these questions because I had some. TWE, when you get a mint, post a link to your Discord. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you guys want to come in on the Discord, if you're interested in that, there's also a link below, but here is. Oh, that's not it. There you go. Yeah, you guys can all join that. It's free. Come in there and chat it up with the squad. If you guys want everything else as far as the plays go and the indicators, the pattern scanner, all of that other stuff, then you do have to click the link below on the stream, and that'll take you straight there. I do everything. I do updates every day, guys, by the way. With that, I mean, that is my job. So I update everything as far as the market goes. My vision here with what I think is going on. Like I said, we did have Upstart and Roblox on the POI list this week, and both of them are up 25% today. So really, really awesome stuff. Okay. There you go. Testicle said, Will Smith, that like button, y'all. Hell yeah. DR, no. Hell yeah, man. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's see. XLF, what do you see in the near future for AMC? So this point of interest we have right now is already a pump and dump. And I guess the terms vary really. Like it's inverse point of interest is pretty clear in that the pattern played out, flipped. So the difference, I guess, between some of the POIs that aren't like that, I think there's really three. There's three, right? There is our POI, regular POI, positive POI. There's the inverse POI, and then there's the neutral POI. You can call it a neutral POI because these really these are frustrating. Okay, because you do have some kind of like a micro POI inside that plays out, but then when the markets are dry and there's not a lot of volatility, you see something structured like that a little bit more. We've only seen two. We've seen this one and this one back here. This one is not, because we did see volatility kick in, and the implied volatility was actually one of the major indicators here. Implied volatility right now looks like this. And let me see if I still have that. Yeah, no way, I don't. Where is it? Here it is. Perfect. Look at that. It's even lined up for me. So here is the implied volatility on AMC. And you can see that all these spikes line up with the points of interest, which is accurate. It's good. Right here, right here. But look at this one. The chart is not telling us that, right? It's telling us it's a pump and dump, but the IV is higher than almost June levels. I think right now it's actually higher. This is data from like a week ago. This right here is crucial because we're inside the point of interest and it's showing a spike in the IV. So this is like more confirmation. It's very similar to what the PFV indicator that I have here does. Very similar to that. And in that it tracks volatility with volume and price, and then normalizes that data for us so we can see a clear representation of what is going on in the chart without, certain variables. So it's, this one, like I said, it's shown, and it's pretty clear that it was a pump and dump. So, what I had mentioned earlier was that the cycle that we're playing out right now has a pretty large. It's not a macro POI because it just kind of develops into a flag and then gets rejected. The difference here is that if the trajectory is changing, meaning that if the charts are starting to be bullish, because we're going up doesn't mean that there has to be a point of interest. It just means that the chart is bullish now. It's starting to climb back up, but it's going to be slow. It's not going to be quick. Point of interest is just volatility. So it doesn't matter if the price goes from $5 to $10 in a month or two. That's still building up pressure. We want to see major volatility kick in. We want to see a massive spike in volume that, change premiums in these contracts, these option contracts, right? I've seen some of the videos. Yeah, I've seen some of the ants videos. I think the approach is a little different. I know that he uses cycle theory as well, but I think the difference, at least between just the way we approach things a little bit, is it's one thing to have the TA out of the way. The TA out of the way is that, well, it's just a projection you have based on what is going on with the chart. But the difference between the way at least I'm tracking some of these zones here of volatility, something that's frequent, that happens every 2 months, that doesn't change, is just tracking volatility. So everything else aside from that, if I'm tracking it going up, that's just very basic TA that we do here, in that, well, it's likely to do that. If not, then, it's It's just, yeah, man. It's just the way TA works. Like, TA is not always going to be in your favor. Something more likely than not to happen. Now, I'm not the type of I'm pretty conservative as far as price targets go and stuff like that. I don't try to give price targets because I don't think it's unless I'm very like confident about the structure of what is going on. And this actually involves a lot of other stocks in the market. But we know how AMC works, and can be a little stubborn sometimes. Alrighty, awesome. Yeah, Upstart is headed back up. It's climbing back up. It's looking really good. Yeah, pretty awesome stuff, guys. Okay, so all right, guys. If you want a to a just real quick, I want to show you guys a little bit of how the Discord works. So what you're seeing right here is something I posted. You gotta get it nice and clear, nice and big here. Let's take everything else out. So this right here is the POIs we had for the week. So you can see it's posted the 12th. All right, on Sunday at 10, right? Just to show you guys a little bit of how the POIs work here. Yep, now you got the weekly password. So if you want it, I'll give it to you guys this time. You want to go check out the website, you can see the structure of these patterns that I'm tracking and what I think is going to happen here. And you can update those. I have a weekly password. Obviously, I got to reset it every week. This is part of the Discord, though. So weekly POIs, you got Mullen long, Roblox long, Upstart long, and then macro POIs. I have 5 coming down. Okay, so these are the points of interest we're tracking. And Roblox and Upstart today are up over 25% and going. Okay, these are the top stocks today of the day for the week, right? And we have 4. So, or 3, I'm sorry. This is how the points of interest work on the Discord. I just want to cuz I have questions on this. How does that work? Like how do you do this as far as the trackings go and stuff? Well, like other people do, the technical analysis is the same thing, except I use a different approach. It's cycle analysis that looks at the stocks a little bit differently than you're used to, right? So this is what I do. Both of these again are up pretty good amounts. Yes, go ahead, check out the website. Type in 1154, and you can get free access for this week. For that, I'll give it to all you guys. Head up on there and check out the website, man, and track these. All right, these are pretty cool stuff. Now, none of this is financial advice, obviously. Again, it's just a way that I look and approach the markets. Very similar to what you've seen with AMC over the past year. Okay. And here, you know what? If you guys want to check that out, and you're like, yo, what is the website? What do you mean? Well, here it is. So, you know that password that I just gave you by accident? Well, there it is. So, click on the website, go to charts, and then type in that password, and you guys have up to till Sunday to use it. Look at me go. Huh? You can also check out another cool thing. Now, obviously, you can't use the indicators or anything because you do need other verification for that. But you can use something called Sparks, which is really cool. It's a thing I integrated through TradingView that lets you look at the watch list that I have there. So all the cryptos, all the stocks, everything. If you click on Sparks, it'll show you that. And dude, it's fucking awesome. All right, let me tell you. That is it's a killer tool to be able to see everything at once and see what's going on intraday, like the structure of the pattern. If it's developing into something, you can quickly go into that stock instead of having to click one by one. It can get kind of annoying. It's the whole point of Sparks there. So Chris, I hope that answered your question, man. Yeah, don't crash the website, all right? Don't crash the website. Or let's see if it gets there. Yeah, and let me know what you guys think. Head on over to the website. You guys can see that, check it out, and then go to where's the other link? The Discord link. Join that up, and then go in the chat and let me know what you think about it. So give me some feedback. Okay, so yeah, and Molin was one of the ones that we talked about, even though it is on the weekly POI. So two that you saw on the weekly POI was Roblox and Upstart, which are both playing out, and then one that we had on there, Molin. That one I was originally having a point of interest for it towards the end of the month, but I had seen something that caught my attention, and I had it playing out a little bit earlier. But right now we obviously don't have that on Molin, so Molin is one of the hits for this time frame that we track. So remember, with POIs, there's always a window that you have to track. And I track a very specific window because some things do have little gaps, right? 2-3 days of sideways trading pressure, and then you see the POI hit right immediately right after. So that's kind of what I got from Molin. I do see it going back up, and right now the ones that I am tracking though are there. Five Below is one of the crazy ones that I'm tracking as far as it coming down. I personally think it's going to come down in about a week, and I think that's a pretty hefty push that I'm expecting for it to come down. Let's see if I can pull it up. Now, I will say a lot of these POIs, so what I do is I track there's steps that I take, right? There's one of the most important things that I track is derivatives, the option chain. Then I do the technical analysis, so everything that has to do with indicators, cycle indicators, just where the stock is at. Is it oversold, overbought? All that stuff goes into it. And then to top it off, I track everything with the pattern scanner. The pattern scanner is a tool that scans the entire market and finds similar patterns, okay? And then I use that to sort of make that that confirmation in the end. That's what really tops everything in the rounds everything out and gives me that final confirmation. So I'll give you an example of this. Five Below is one that I was doing a lot of analysis with, and then I found a pattern on the pattern scanner that blew my mind. All right. So this is Five Below. I'm going to show you guys a pattern because, well, I already gave you the password, right, to the website, so might as well just go over it now. watch this. So this right here, now this is why like I think the pattern scanner that we have is insane, because again, this is not a fractal. So this is not like, 10 minutes of data. This is another stock in the market that played this pattern out here a long time ago. It could be 10 years, it could be 5 years. It's the same time frame. So why this is very important to track. This right here, okay? It just finished everything off for me, because the structure, at least the 5 below, this doesn't mean that this is going to happen, but just look at the structure of this pattern at least to understand what it's doing. I've been tracking this, okay? I didn't post the POI till this week because it's finally finishing off the tracking, but I've been tracking this since December as well, way back here, and it's been following all the way through. And it's the last thing I need, really, for it to finish this off. So pretty crazy stuff here on 5 below. Right there. And TradingView always moving my stuff. Now, there is a point where you don't want to, completely track everything, because once you start to get into that, that zone where you start to see that pressure come up or down, you need to be careful, because a lot of these patterns do flip. And when it flips, well, this thing can keep going, right? And then that's where it gets a little sticky, a little ugly, because, well, we also have this parallel channel on 5 below. So if that ends up happening, well, then okay, it's more likely that this is probably going to go back up. But this is a volatility zone, guys, on 5 below. So one of the levels I'm tracking is 140 by right around mid-March time. And right now, what it's looking like is that we're going to start to see that pressure come down if the market decides to do the same thing. Now, it is kind of a hedge, because 5 below doesn't necessarily follow the market. This is why I think this is a really interesting play, because it's kind of like Moderna, man, and Pfizer. Like, they do their own thing. They're not really following the market. Okay, so you can see here the market's choppy, back and forth. 5 below is just freaking pumping, bro. This is an arc. This is a parabolic arc. It's building pressure until it pops, okay? So we've seen this plenty of times before. Okay, on multiple charts, you can clearly see it on this one. Now, this is not the only chart that I have. The pattern scanner found one recently. So I had scanned this in December. I scanned it again a couple days ago, and this is the other one that I found. And they're both calling for the same thing. Look at that. The same fucking thing, dude. They're both calling for the same thing. And crazy freaking stuff here, dude. All right, so there you go. There's a free, there's four free little stocks that I just provided. Again, not financial advice ever. It's just TA man that I do. All right. If you guys like it, you like it. Awesome. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to go ahead and do some, come back and do some updates. I got to finish up some things here. Upstart is starting to move. And you know what? So for those, now let's do the updates here. Let's do the updates here. All right? I'm going to do the updates for you guys. All right, so this is what I got for Upstart, because you guys already saw everything. So I'm going to show you the pattern that we were tracking for Upstart. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to my profile. And let's go to Upstart, man. So just for confirmation here, these are private, obviously. That's why there's not much going on, because they're private. But what do we got here, guys? This is the projection. So I post these every week. You see here, February 12th. It's posted. And then this is the projection I have for the week. So what do we got so far? That's what we got so far. Right, we had that bullish pressure. Now, This is a pretty hefty push because I was tracking multiple different variations of a pattern, and Upstart has a low float, so when it goes fast. It's also been shorted to the ground, okay, from 400 bucks all the way down to 12, which is insane. A lot of shorts piled in. So here's one. We also have right here, Roblox. Look at that. Look at Roblox. Look at that. Look at that magic. Look at that. It comes from here, from the moment I posted it, right, on the 10th or the 12th. It goes up, hits the level at 45, and now it's coming back down to being rejected, right? So perfect play here on Roblox. And coming back to it, I'm gonna talk about what these setups are and why we're seeing that pressure build up here on Upstart. It's actually, it keeps playing out according to setup. It's almost up 30% from the moment that we predicted these. Currently, I have the $22 contracts, so those are they're almost up like 300%. Crazy stuff. Let's go ahead and pull up some of these other patterns here. Right now, we've been tracking Bitcoin. Even tracked AMC. Look at this one, dude. This is Upstart right here. It's actually a pattern I found in Upstart, calling for 32 bucks. First 26, then 32. And then we also have Bitcoin right now that we're tracking on the minute chart. I think this is probably the one that, and we've been tracking this since the morning here, around 11. Still calling for more upside as well. Awesome. So yeah, Upstart's starting to push back up. It looks like it wants to break the current level of resistance, and I would be tracking 26 next. I think this thing has way more to go, especially it's only Wednesday. Once the volatility kicks in, guys, unless it gets fully rejected and you see a dump, it's likely it will continue to go back up. Because again, it's not like it's Friday right now, or you know, we're getting closer to the end of the week, but we're not there yet. So I think this is reminding me a lot of Mara. It's reminding me a lot of Lucid, which are other plays that we have tracked in the market and have been pretty spot on their points of interest. So yeah, I'll leave that there, man, for Upstart, because Upstart's looking awesome. Roblox, RBLX, same thing. Okay, we were expecting that $45 level hit today, from 35 to 45. Cross resistance. We'll likely trade sideways here, expected on the pattern we were looking at, something like this. Maybe come back down to test support a little bit. For Roblox, I'm not really looking for anything right now. I think the big play is Upstart, because Upstart still has more to go. All right, guys, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button real quick if you're not subscribed, because if you want to know when I go live and we're gonna, you know, when we rally with the family, you gotta be subscribed. You gotta hit that notification bell, you know. And also like the shit out of this, dude. Like the shit out of it. I would appreciate it. The cycle would appreciate it. Alrighty, guys, I am going to be taking a little break here. I've been going live all day, and I want to go ahead and set some things up here for the coming days, do a little bit of work on that. So again, if you want to join the Discord, just click the link below. I sent one up here as well. If you want access to everything else, play around with the website. Here is the password again. I'll give it to you guys. If you guys want to check out the website and you want to play around with the charts, how the POIs look, POIs are very basic, okay? All we're doing is we're tracking stocks. So you already know the POIs for the week. It's like a watch list. You get a watch list that we're tracking. And then the password is just to show you what my projection is. And that's basically it. It's pretty simple. This is just one part of the Discord. Everything else has to do with the plays, the crypto plays, and the stock plays and stuff like that, which again are not financial advice. They're just what I see going on in the market. So if you want to check this out, password is 1154. Head on to tradingwithemotions.com. Click that charts or sparks, whatever you want to do, and it'll get you in there. If you want everything else, just click the access button and you'll be redirected back into that. Other than that, guys, I'll see you next time. Fucking love you. Bye-bye.